And now, moving from the EU initiative and studies and the Rural Pact Community Group, we want to hear about what is happening more on the ground, local initiatives that have been also empowering rural youth voices in different ways, so different methodologies and different countries. We have 4 keynote speakers that are going to share this with us. And without further ado, I would like to give the floor to our first speaker, Aimee Spence, who is a board member of Scottish Rural Action. Good morning, Aimee from Scotland. You're going to present us the Scottish Rural Island Youth Parliament, that is not only an event, this process of help mobilizing youth voices and amplifying them to national parliament. So please, Aimee, the floor is yours. Tell us more about it.
Thank you very much. I'll just share my screen. Let me know if this is working, please. There we go. Can everyone see that? Yeah.
Yes, it's working. Thanks, Aimee.
Brilliant. Well, hi everyone. I'm Aimee. I'm a board member of Scottish Rural Action. Thank you very much for inviting me along today. I was fortunate enough to be involved in the Scottish Rural and Islands Youth Parliament that took place back in November, and 2 of the planning events leading up to the 2 of the planning meetings that led up to the event kind of over the last year. So I'll speak a little bit to this. The Scottish Rural and Islands Youth Parliament was an inspiring gathering that brought together youth voices from rural and island Scotland to discuss what truly matters to them. It was the culmination of partnership work between community-led local development youth local action groups, quite a mouthful. Local action groups replaced the LEADER programme following the UK leaving the EU. In addition to local action groups, we also worked in partnership with Youth Scotland, Inspirational, Young Islanders Network, Youth Carers Network, Scottish Association of Young Farmers Clubs, and more. In order to get young people on board with the Youth Parliament, we connected with organisations and individuals on the ground in their respective communities and tried to use an inclusive approach through subsidies and travel bursaries. We also sought to work with groups that often aren't represented at these forums, such as young carers. So I'll just call it the SRIYP, it's a little bit easier than the full title, took place during the second half of the first day of the Rural and Islands Parliament. Over 75 young people aged 16 to 30 from across Scotland left for the Cool Centre in Fort William. This afternoon session consisted of workshops and discussions where young people reflected on their lived experiences to articulate what is most important to them and to identify the actions they wanted to see to better secure their future. 2023 was actually the first ever SRIYP. It had been trying to get off the ground for a little while, so it was great to see it all come to fruition. We had the Cabinet Secretary for Rural Affairs and Mary Goujon in attendance, as well as a Highlands and Islands MSP who came along to listen to everything we said, which was brilliant. From the event, the youth delegates presented Ms Goujon with 10 priorities and mission statements that they would like to see focused on by decision makers. These priorities were arts and culture, sustainable transport, skills, education and employment, housing, equity and accessibility, mental health and well-being, land, environment and nature, agriculture and food, young carers, and participation in leadership. So I know there's a lot of similarities that everyone in this group will be able to see there. In terms of some of the challenges in bringing the young people together, there were some issues around travel, obviously, as most of our young people live very rurally, and whether that's just kind of not easily accessible by public transport or actually on islands where the ferries aren't running, all those kind of issues. We also found it a little challenging to engage with some of the young people, as the current systems in place don't always make it easy for young voices to be heard. I think sometimes we use the term young people as quite a broad term, when in reality, the young people come from all different kinds of backgrounds or various ages and care about different things. So we actually found it quite challenging to actually distill these 10 priorities down into 10 because there was there's so many issues. Lastly, another important point is that in Scotland, we work within 1-year funding cycles, which is quite a difficult time frame to deliver meaningful projects that bring about real positive change for young people. So that's definitely one of the issues. Looking to the next step in the process, some of the delegates from the SRIYP met again, along with some new faces, in mid-January of this year to watch as the priorities were taken to a debate within the Scottish Parliament organised by Marie Goujon, who attended back in November. On the morning of the debate, we were introduced to the Scottish Cabinet, the Permanent Secretary and the First Minister of Scotland, Humza Yousaf. A speech was delivered by a few of the youth representatives, followed by an introduction by the First Minister himself, in which he welcomed the youth delegates to the Scottish Parliament. The wider group was then split into 10 subgroups, each focusing on a different theme, and we were assigned a relevant cabinet minister to discuss the theme in more detail. Each minister really stressed their dedication to improving the lives of rural youth and gave us their contact details for any further inquiries, so that was all really promising. After lunch, we headed to the main hall to watch the debate, and Marie Goujon introduced each of the priorities to the participants. Some of the discussions did become quite heated, but it was unanimously agreed that the priorities needed addressed, and the young people were praised for their passion and bringing them to the attention of the Parliament. So that was good as well. Some of the next steps for Scottish Rural Action now are to help strengthen the emerging rural youth network, building on the network of organisations that collaborated to create the SRIYP, and to support the network to further the youth priorities. So that's me. Thank you so much for inviting me along to talk. I've left my contact details there if you'd like to send me a message. And I've also linked to the Rural SE Hub there on the right-hand side, which is an online platform which has loads of information translated into a few different languages that might be of interest. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Aimee. Thank you for sharing very briefly what has been the experience of the Scottish Rural and ELARD Youth Parliament. We noticed the challenge that you mentioned, the travelling, but also the broad concept of youth. Youth are very diverse, and therefore the needs and the challenges are also very diverse. Or the 1-year cycle funding that makes perhaps a bit challenging for you to have the continuation of these participatory processes that is not just an ad hoc event, but something that goes throughout the time. Encouraging to see that you receive the contact details of the people from the National Parliament as well. Thank you, Aimee. We'll continue to chatting with you later today. And now I would like to give the floor to our second inspirational project. And this is Annie Linsemark, the communication coordinator from the local action group Halland in Sweden, and also working in the European Leader Association for Rural Development. And you are going to explain a bit of very different initiatives you've been doing, from Erasmus Plus projects, but to mainstream this experience in your particular context in Sweden. Good morning, Annie, and please, the floor is yours.
Thank you. I will try to share my screen as well. So, hi everybody. It's wonderful to see all of you here today. Let me start by asking, isn't Petson of Findus such a delightful story? A farmer living with his cat. Here they are enjoying cake and listening to LP records. For those who may not be familiar with Petson of Findus, they are characters from a series of books written by the Swedish author Sven Nordqvist. But what does this have to do with rural youth participation in policy making? Does everybody want a cat? We will see. Allow me to connect the dots for you, but let's start from the beginning. I'm a communication and rural development professional, deeply committed in involving youth, and my name is Annie Linsemark. Over the past 3 years, I have been working with LEADER, both locally at CLLD Halland and also internationally at ELARD. And today I'm here to discuss strategies for empowering rural youth. And that strategies is from our project Rural Best. So I will start with the background, then I will present the results, talk about the continued impact, and then talk about engaging youth, 3 key pillars, and then I will go back to pets and offenders. Access to services.
Okay. Annie, sorry, I'm afraid that we lost you for some seconds
Oh, sorry. Do you hear me
when
now?
you were about to start presenting the rules. I think there was a bit of a internet connection problem or something.
Oh, yeah. We'll see.
You can restart.
Can you see the presentation?
Yes, we are seeing you in the background. Perfect.
Yeah. Yes. The EU Youth Strategy aims to ensure equal opportunities for all young people, like we talked about before, but challenges persist for young people living in rural areas, including limited job opportunity and access to service. And the Rural-Best 22 project aimed to address these challenges by fostering dialogue and giving rural youth a voice in policymaking. Throughout our project, our active engagement was evident at every step. It began with organizing a workshop at the European Rural Parliament in 2022, where we collaborated closely with the ERP board to ensure its success. Following the workshop, we crafted a manifesto outlining our finding and recommendation. And finally, we had the privilege of presenting our results to the EU parliamentarians in partnership with the ERP board in Brussels in 2023. In contrast to the typical youth experience, where our participation often results in superficial interaction and no concrete following up action, our involvement in this project was holistic. We didn't just attend conferences, instead we actively engaged from grassroots level to the European stage, together with the ERP board. In Sweden, we have continued to strengthen our connection within the network and develop processes by constantly including young people. Our project has also inspired the CAP network. As a result, they are establishing a Young Leader Forum, where we will expand our collaboration across more countries than we had the opportunity to do within the project. I have broken down the results into 3 key pillars. The first one is tailored communication. Active participation in policy matter is essential for young people. However, to ensure the full engagement, it's crucial to provide easy, understandable information about available opportunities. 2, highlight the benefits for youth. It's crucial to ensure that young people's voices are not only heard, but also valued. And we need to see that we can make a difference and have a voice in shaping society. And 3, employing youth. Who better understands how to communicate with young people than young individuals themselves? Integrating them into organization and projects ensures the natural involvement. And the success of the initiative Rural-Best in Sweden is because we have hired youth, which in turn has established a community. Here we are not only colleagues, we are also friends. We engage in social activities such as after-work gatherings, trips, and dinner to foster stronger bonds, which ensures everyone's ongoing participation and contribution. So back to my first question, how do we get rural youth to participate in policy making? And our answer is by creating inclusive spaces where young people are naturally involved in shaping society. And now back to Pets and Offenders. And Pets and Offenders exemplify this collaboration. Despite the generation gap between them, they demonstrate that age should not be a barrier to collaboration, and they show the importance of valuing the perspective of individuals regardless of age. So I invite you to reflect on how you can become more like Pets and Offenders in your work And if you haven't seen and know Pets and Findus, I invite you to read the books and see the series. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Annie. Thank you very much for this message of strong intergenerational cooperation, tailored communication, highlights what are the benefits for young people, and most importantly, hire young people. They are the best ones to know how to shape the program and agenda in the strategies of any organization, and to collaborate with others. I think that you have in the chat a question for you, Annie, about the book. You have like raised some interest, so you might want to reply to that. Thanks again. We'll continue chatting with you later. But now I would like to welcome our third speaker, Iulia Fatu. Good morning, Iulia from Romania, even though if today you are even further, but thanks a lot for making the time to be here with us today and to present how you consolidated also another initiative, a National Rural Youth Parliament in Romania. So please, the floor is yours, Iulia.
Thank you so much, Patricia. Thank you for your invitation and for giving me the opportunity to discuss with you about our young people. In the following minutes, I will tell you about our experience in working with youths. Until now, we had, sorry, the presentation. Could you please help me with sharing the screen?
Yes, we'll do that. I'll ask my colleague if she can share.
Please.
Okay, it's coming. 1 second.
Patricia, I can show
Yes,
you.
yes, it's coming. Sorry.
Okay.
Okay, give me 1 sec.
Perfect.
And
Okay. So in the following minutes, I will tell you about our experience in working with youths. Until now, we had several events with young people in different regions of Romania in which we made simulation of rural parliaments. Next slide, please. To actively involve our young people in the programs that we make for them, we provide them the opportunity to express their opinions, and we design an interactive program. So first, we always start with some icebreaker activities. These kind of activities help young people get to know each other and also the facilitators. For example, we give them a white paper to draw themselves, and after that they have to describe the drawing. Another type of activity, it's we always continue with some personal development activities. Therefore, our program included activities aimed to develop their skills, such as communication, leadership, and problem solving. For example, how to increase self-confidence. In our meetings, we always invite local decision makers to discuss about how local councillors are organized or how to write a successful project, about involvement in local community. We also invite guest speakers with expertise from the field of rural administration to share their insights and to inspire the young people. They are having public speaking courses or how to communicate to have impact over the people. After we have open dialogue and feedback session, we encourage open discussion and feedback session where young people could express their thoughts, concerns, and of course their ideas. This creates a more trust atmosphere, and also mutual respect. We continue with debates and discussions on relevant topics like subjects cyberbullying or volunteering. And in the last part of the session, we encourage the youths to propose activities and projects that they felt passionate about. This not only give them a sense of ownership, but also allow them to contribute to their community. Next slide, please. I will continue to tell, yeah. From this experience, I've learned so really important things. It's like when you meet someone for the very first time, and they seem a bit quiet at the beginning, but if you are talking with them in a nice way, they start sharing their thoughts. I realized that young people have a lot of great ideas and want to be part of things, but they need the right support and encouragement. We want to use these ideas to help to make the rural areas in Romania, first of all, better, much better than are now. These young people are the future, and they really want to make their communities and the world a better place. That's pretty cool and inspiring. Of course, that during this session, we faced a few challenges and opportunities, and I will start with the challenges. One would be limited access to information, resources such as transportation, for example, or opportunities such as internship. Another one would be lack of representation and education and awareness. I'll continue with some opportunities to face these challenges. The first one would be digital connectivity. For example, internet access, a better connectivity in rural area can help the youths to access information and participate in virtual webinars or forums. Or digital literacy programs to improve digital literacy among rural youth can empower them to leverage technology for political engagement. Another one would be community-based initiatives, local organizers support for NGOs, and mentorship and capacity buildings. Please, next slide. In the end, on the last slide, we propose some policy recommendation. The first one would be youth-focused funding and resources. We have to allocate funding and resources to help rural youth parliaments. This can include grants for organizing training programs or infrastructure development for meeting spaces. Develop a clear guideline for accessing these resources, and maybe organize a competition to see who has the best idea, and plan and reward the best of them. Another policy recommendation would be digital inclusion and connectivity. Invest in rural digital infrastructure to make sure that youths can have access to the internet and digital tools. Having a good internet connection is really important so they can join in rural youth parliaments online. They can talk with others, they can have virtual meetings and find important information. Provide grants for them to purchase computers and internet service for low-income rural youth. Offer trainings programs to youth so they can gain digital skills. In the end, the last policy recommendation would be youth capacity building and mentorship. Develop programs for rural youth interested in participation in rural youth parliaments. These programs should focus on leadership skills like public speaking, understand the policy, and speak up for what they believe. Create mentorship programs which can provide guidance, share knowledge, and help youths to figure out how things work in making decisions for community. So This policy recommendation aims to create a good environment for rural youth to actively engage in rural youth parliaments so their voices can be heard and contribute to rural development. So thank you so much for your attention. Later, my colleague Claudiu will tell you about what kind of concrete activities we are doing in our territory with youths.
Thank you. Thanks a lot, Iulia. Indeed, we will also have your colleague presenting a bit more in detail what has been done for the side of the local action group in one of the group discussions later today. Thanks a lot for sharing this journey. It's a long one. You mentioned personal development, all the needed mentorship and skills and communication, but also to feel at ease. Not everybody is a natural leader. Not everybody feels the prompt reaction to participate, and we have to be sensitive with everybody's background, with everybody's capabilities, to make sure that we are hearing voices of youth, rural youth, but in an inclusive manner. Okay, so now I see some congratulations for your recommendations in the chat. Indeed, it's going to be useful for our further debate later today. And now I will give the floor to the last panelist for this session, Inspirational Projects and Practices. And this is Linda Medne. Linda is the chair of the Latvian organization 4H, which is the largest youth lead NGO in Latvia. And you are going to present this initiative, Give Way to Youth, that has used different methodologies and tools to engage yourselves in decision-making processes. Good morning, Linda, and please, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Patricia, and good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I'm really happy to be there and to tell about our experience. So tell me, please, do you see my screen?
We see your screen in a very funny way. We see also yourself in the background.
Myself as well. Okay, but you see my full screen in the presentation.
Not in full, it's not in full yet.
Not in full yet. Okay, let's do it once more. Let's see what's happening. Oh, I understood what I did. Now it's okay?
Yeah, it is.
Oh,
thanks, Linda.
Good. I was experimenting with the Zoom. So, yes. The project I'm going to tell you is Give Way to Youth, Dodiet ceļu jaunieši in Latvian, and it was funded by Active Citizen Fund, and it was a complex project, and its objective was to improve youth opportunities for active participation in rural areas of Latvia. And it was a 3-year-long project, and it involved a lot of activities. It was 537 unique participants. There were participants that were participating in several activities, but these were unique ones. 11 interconnected activities, 30 youth initiatives, of which 20 were fully implemented. There was research done, guidelines, and a film, and of course, strengthened cooperation between our partner and Norway. Shortly about the activities that were held. As I said, the aim was to empower youth in the rural areas. And one of the first things that youngsters were involved were 24-hour hackathon, where they met and made up groups to think of initiatives in their local places, what they would love to carry out. 30 initiatives were presented during those 24-hour events, out of which, as I said, 20 were only fully implemented. But to tell a couple of examples what they did a lot of things. They did a Minecraft tournament. They did a lot of local initiatives. Like it was a conversation festival, Gen Z, at Dritāni, which is the eastern part of the Latvia. Youngsters invited local influencers and local people that youth listen to talk about issues, invited local decision makers. It was garden fete in Sigulda, where they went together with the social house, with the elderly, to organize activities to come together. They created mountain biking track in Stalgen, where they involved all the community of their place to make this happen, even as well as local municipality workers there. They made a beach volley field in Tume, which that was a place which youngsters said that they need something for their own activities. About everyone, there was made a short video about the winners of the activities, because it was a contest, and the best ones got to go to experience exchange in Norway to our partner Creatorium, and there they saw how the decision making, how the activities, how it's done over there, and it was a very useful part for even for the youngsters to see how the things are happening abroad. Of course, as I said, there was a research about the youngsters done, or what is the key factors for them to help to implement their initiatives, and the guidelines developed for the mentors, how to work with youngsters, how to help them. And there are some outcomes, and youngsters learn by developing initiatives as well as participating in the decision making, a sense of initiative and can do, a sense of responsibility. And this is something that youngsters said themselves: self-belief, resilience, flexibility, overcoming fears, time planning skills, emotional intelligence, communication skills, teamwork, getting volunteers, getting other people to help with the things, fundraising, which is not easy part. And what they say, why they should carry out initiatives, why they should go to the local authorities and to ask for help, is that they can implement an idea that young people like, their own idea. It's not the young spirits from the rural areas. It's not the people who think they are young, but they are youngsters themselves could tell what we need. It's an experience, it's new friendships, it's knowledge, it's understanding, and so many things. You will have the presentation you can read through. And the main motivator to complete the project was mentoring support. And this is some message that we want to put forward, that this mentoring approach for young people is really important. Either it's for decision making, either it's for empowering them to do the local activities. Mentoring is something, a safeguarding for youngsters, that they can be empowered, they can be stronger, they can be more self-confident about the things they do. Yes, there is a movie that you can see when you will see the presentation, but I have still 30 seconds I can see in my watch, and I would say that this is nothing strange that we do in an organization. We do it on a daily basis. We empower young people to do to implement initiatives, to go to the local decision makers, to talk with them about youngsters' needs. But projects like this, they can scale it up. They can put it on the different level. And helping organizations to implement projects like this is a tool how to strengthen youth in the rural areas. Thank you very much. Hopefully we will have a good day ahead of us.
Thank you very much, Linda, for sharing your experience with us in Latvia and how through this hackathon many ideas and many youth-led projects were created and made sustainable even after the initiative. We have one question in the chat, and it refers to something that some of you have already mentioned, Linda, Aimee, Iulia, and Annie, and it's funding. How we access the funding to make this possible. I know that the particular projects that you have presented have been funded in a different way. For instance, Linda, in your case, it was not an EU grant, but it was an EEA grant, right? I don't know if you can comment also a bit on that, and also because your organization, as I said, is a very large, the largest NGO right now in Latvia. So access to funding, what can you tell us about? It's something that you've been also applying to different funding opportunities. In the case you mentioned for this project, Give Way to Youth, that you team up with with an organization based in Norway to learn their good practices so that you could replicate it in Latvia. Can you comment on that, Linda?
Yeah, shortly about that. Active Citizens Fund was the program that was active until last year, and it was a great opportunity for many organizations to raise the capacity to empower the organizations, and so the organization can empower their members. As how we do apply for the funds, we are looking for the European or EA or local grants that we can work on. It's the way how our organization has been performing so far, and the grants and different funds, but of course looking for the funds that comply with our aims and with our priorities that we want to do.
Thank you, Linda. Indeed, it's very good that you highlight that there are many opportunities there available. Perhaps not all of them are people know enough about them, but there is not only one line of funding. There are many, and in the Rural Pact, if you go to the Rural Pact community platform, you can find some good practices, and soon we're going to have yours also there. And another like the Rural Best Project and the initiative for the Parliament that Iulia presented. And I invite you all to have a look, because you can see that many of these initiatives are looking at different funding opportunities, so you don't need to constrain yourself to only one, to find complementarity and multi-funding to make them more sustainable. We are perfectly on time for a coffee break, 10:30 Brussels time. And I think that everybody is eager to grab one, a coffee or tea or a glass of water. Please do not disconnect. We are going to have, after this coffee break, 15 minutes, we are going to have a panel with 4 speakers, with representatives from youth organizations that they are going to tell the first person what has been their experiences, the challenges, the solutions, the recommendations. And we will also have another policymaker, Karen van de Wege, Deputy Head of Unit for Youth and Volunteer Solidarity at the European Commission, in this panel.